So today is going to be my first ever club review, and it's going to start off with an absolute banger. We've got the PXG 0311 Forge Wedge. Let's get raw and let's get real. I'm absolutely over the moon to be doing this review because PXG Forge Wedge at 165 is going to be raising a lot of eyebrows. I think there's going to be a lot of golfers out there that now are thinking, instead of buying a Vokey wedge or buying a Joe's wedge or a Cleveland wedge, shall I stretch that a little bit more and get a PXG? I mean, at PXG Sugar Daddy wedge at 720, nobody were thinking of PXG wedges. Well, some people were thinking of PXG wedges, but certainly I weren't, and I'm sure a lot of you weren't. But at 165, I think that there's going to be some interest. So they've got a very small limited option of wedges, which is understandable, you know. So they've kept it simple, from a 50 to a 60 degree in 2 degree increments. That's 6 loft options. There's one finish, which is chrome, and there's one sole option, which is very versatile. I would describe it like being the S grind in the Vokey, so just a standard sole, versatile for all lies. Let's test them. Let's see what they're made of. So I've got two absolutely identical 54 degrees. 54 degree, standard sole, 10 degree bounce. So we're not going to get a more accurate comparison than this. I'm going to start off and just familiarise myself with my 54, hitting 3 or 4 shots. And then I'm going to go straight into the PXG. And then I should be able to give you, some answers on, what it feels like, if there's any difference in feel. So starting off with my 54 degree. Just going to hit a few shots into the net. So I would say I'm playing about a sort of 70–80% shot here. Just how I remember them. Really do feel good, these wedges. Yeah. So now I'm familiar with my wedges, I'm going to go straight into the PXG and hit 3 or 4 shots until I can identify any differences, if there is any differences in feel. Oh yeah, I can tell straight away. I will hit more balls, but I can tell straight away there is a difference. I can tell straight away I don't need to hit any more. What do you guess the difference is? Well, it's forged and it is softer. I can guarantee you that. Let me hit another one. Sorry, I'm getting a bit excited now, I'm getting a bit off point here. It's definitely softer, it's definitely softer. So now we've got the answer to feel, we're just going to compare some full shots, because there is one bomb here that I haven't dropped yet, and that is that the new PXG wedge is not a milled face, so it's not got the milling in between the groove, which I would suspect will reduce a little bit of spin on the ball. So we're going to hit a few full shots with the Vokey first, and then I'll move into the PXG. So I'll just hit 3 or 4 wedges first with the SM8. They're 2 pretty consistent shots when it comes to numbers. See if I can get a third one. Should be able to, it's only a 54. Yeah, 3 really consistent shots there. Let me just switch over. I'm hoping I can get three consistent shots with this one, then we should have a really good comparison. just going to hit one more because I want to make sure that I've got 3 really good strikes, you know, so we can get a really good comparison here with each one. I don't want this to come down to my ability. Yeah, I've got 3 really good strikes for each wedge. So when it comes to looking at the numbers, we are using the average of 3 shots here, and I've chose the sort of good strike shots. I've took out any swings that I didn't feel was sort of, you know, a good strike. I wanted to give it, you know, as accurate information as I could. So I think the key thing to look at here is club speed. So this club speed is pretty consistent. You know, there's literally, you know, 1 miles per hour in it. Alright, so if we firstly start with that information and then work and look at the distance, there is a little bit more distance from the PXG wedge, so an average of 6 yards longer, and that is due to the ball speed. So the ball speed is coming off the face quicker with the PXG, even though we had the same club head speed, actually a little bit less with the PXG. So more ball speed, totaling more distance. But the surprising number here for me is the amount of spin, so a higher spin. Not quite sure how that's been created, not having the middle face, but there's certainly a little bit more spin, and we've used the same balls and we've got a similar club head speed, and it was against 3 strikes. So if anybody had any doubts about the amount of spin that PXG wedge has created, I think that's probably answered the question. Not having the middle face is not going to affect sort of the spin on full shots so much. So let's get raw and real. Let's draw this to some conclusion. So there's no doubts about the performance of the PXG. It's right up there with the SM8. I feel that it's going to have some clout between your friends. You know, it's still got that PXG brand. It's going to sit really nicely in the bag if you're a flashy person. For me personally, you know, in the 50 and 54, I wouldn't be fussed about just having a standard sole, but certainly when it comes to the 60 degree, I'd be wanting a bit more versatility in the sole. So I would want, personally, I'd want a bit lower bounce, something that I could open up and be a bit more versatile with. So, but I suppose they have got to, you know, considering the cost, they have got to make some limitations. And then finally, I won't be changing because I do see the value in a mill face, especially when, you know, you might have a bit of water or a bit of debris on the face. I think a mill face will perform a little bit better. But all in all, you know, it does compare quite well, you know, on the specs. The feel of it, actually the feel of it, let me not forget that one. It does feel very good. It feels soft. If you like a good soft feeling wedge, you know, this does feel soft. I noticed that after 1 or 2 shots, so it does feel really well. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. I've kept it raw and kept it real. I'm kind of liking that as a catchphrase. What do you think?